So you've probably heard this before, that one of the cities that you must visit when you go to Russia is St. Petersburg. This is a city that was once Russia's capital city. It is a city that has a lot to offer. From its rich history, it has significance both during the past and the present. It has unique and beautiful architecture, and so much more. The list simply goes on and on and on. From the moment you set foot in St. Petersburg, there's always something to see that is totally unique to this city, not seen anywhere else in the other cities of this vast, beautiful country. A search on Google on the places to visit while in St. Petersburg brings you all this. So you can be sure that when you go to St. Petersburg, there's a lot for you to see and experience. On my visit there, I was lucky enough to compile a video of some of the places that you must go to get a taste of St. Petersburg. And believe me when I say, this is just but some of the places that I could capture on video. There is a lot more that I missed, but hey, at least there's something to show, right? So brace yourselves as I take you on a tour of this city that was once called Leningrad during the Soviet times. So my assumption is that you're coming from another city in Russia. Let's say you're traveling from Moscow, the capital, to St. Petersburg. This was my first time to travel to St. Petersburg, and I opted to travel by bus. I had used all the other means to travel around Russia. Of course, there are different ways of getting to St. Petersburg, but if you're looking for some sort of different adventure, I would highly recommend that you take the bus. This was my first time traveling by bus in Russia, and I must say I was impressed. The buses are super spacious and comfortable. You actually get the opportunity to enjoy and experience Russia's landscape in ways that you would never imagine. Besides, the buses are driven so well, and safety should not be an issue of concern. Forget about the reckless driving that you see on memes about Russian roads. The experience on the bus to St. Petersburg was simply amazing. If you've watched my videos on this channel before, you should be familiar to the fact that when you go to any city in Russia, you have to start your explorations from the city center. This is exactly what we are going to do with St. Petersburg. We are going to start our explorations from the center of the city. St. Petersburg has one of the grandest city squares among all the cities of Russia, and there's a lot of activities that you can engage in here apart from the sightseeing. Right here there is the Winter Palace, then there is the State Hermitage Museum. From the outside, the architectural designs of this building automatically moves you. Believe me, you would need almost half a day to just marvel at the architecture of these buildings. You'd be moving from side to side to get a different perspective of the beautiful architecture that these buildings have. As a matter of fact, I should point out that to fully explore this place, you would actually need an extra day. You'd be taking a lot of pictures here. I did not get the opportunity to go inside the museum at the time because it was just the time when the pandemic was ripe. Even so, I still got to enjoy myself. There were locals there to entertain, and there were a lot of activities to engage in. There were horse rides, and it was just an opportunity to engage with the Russian locals and learn about the history and the culture of the locals. This is a place where you can also get to buy a lot of souvenirs that are all customized to match popular attractions in the city. Being black, I received extra attention from the locals, with some of them who were courageous enough, excited, and coming to me to request to take a picture with me. Don't get this the wrong way, but you can literally count the number of people of color that you could meet on the streets of Russia. I will be explaining this further in another video, but for now, let me take you to another place. Top of the things that Russia is most famous for having is an efficient train transport system. You don't believe me? Go ahead and Google. The most efficient train service system is attributed to be in Moscow, the capital of Russia. Well, being that I was traveling to St. Petersburg, I wanted to compare and see just how efficient the train service system was compared to Moscow. I should point out that St. Petersburg's subway system also has some notable unique features. The city has metro stations that rank to be among the deepest in the world. As a matter of fact, the third deepest metro station is in St. Petersburg. So I was excited when I was going to experience the train rides in this city. One thing you should be aware of is that you will be spending a lot of time on the escalators, as most of them are dug deep underground. Tunnels need to be dug deep due to the fact that most of the land in the city is unstable. Sometimes it gets really complicated, and some underground projects have had to be stopped in the past. Apart from efficiency, let's not forget that each station is supposed to be a museum of its own. There is a lot of effort that is dedicated to making sure that each station stands out artistically. You would be amazed by the architectural design and beauty that each station has down there. I remember when I was new in Russia, I used to spend a lot of time traveling by train, just to enjoy the view that each station had. Trust me, you would never get enough of the beauty and architecture under there. The Russians really outdid themselves here. I could go on and on about the subway system, but let's move. We need to catch up on some few other places. Among the top reasons that we planned for this trip to St. Petersburg was the amusement park. I will not lie to you, I wanted to experience the thrill of crazy rides. See, the thing about Moscow is that even in as much as there were amusement parks at the time, most of them had, we can say, average rides that did not have that adrenaline rush that you would get from a ride of a kind like a roller coaster. We had to come and seek that thrill in St. Petersburg, and trust me, I was not disappointed. Here were crazy, and I can report that I got the adrenaline rush that I was looking for. Surprisingly, when I ranked the crazy rides, the one that scared me the most was this one. As surprising as it may seem, this ride literally makes your heart stop, especially when it goes up and hangs there momentarily before it starts coming down. I should say that before I got on this ride, I underestimated it, but after damn, it was crazy. Well, I did not get an opportunity to go on this one, so I cannot speak about it much. It only takes 2 people at a time, and there were a lot of people waiting in line to go. We simply did not have the patience to sit and wait in line, while there were other rides that we could go back to over and over again. Last but not least for this video is one of the most famous gardens in Russia, Peterhof Gardens. This place is grand and spectacular, and it makes sense why it is among the most visited palace complexes in the world. Even in as much as it is one of the most visited complexes in the world, I still have some bit of reservations about going there. One of my concerns is that the place is really far away from the city center. It would take you almost 2 hours to go and 2 hours coming back. So this is almost half a day you'd spend going to the place. Besides, the place closes really early, so you have to make plans to go there early enough if you are to really get an experience of the whole garden. Apart from that, this is a huge piece of land that is filled with architectural designs of buildings, fountains, and golden sculptures all over the place. You should believe me when I tell you that the place has close to 140 fountains and more than 200 statues, so there's really a lot to cover in one garden. This place has a really interesting history. That's one of the things that would fascinate you when you come here. It was built by Peter the Great. Peter the Great had traveled to Europe and got the inspiration from the designs that he saw in France and wanted to come back and develop Russia. After his passing on, the gardens continued to be improved by successive imperial family members. Interesting enough, this is a place that served as a residence for Russian monarchs for close to 200 years before the empire collapsed in the 1900s. Peterhof Gardens is currently among the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Millions of visitors from all over the world come here each year. As I wrap up this video, there are a number of things that I need to mention about St. Petersburg to add to the list of things that you must see or places that you must visit. An interesting point about this city is that it has more than 300 bridges. So you'll be sure to be seeing a bridge here, a bridge there, a bridge on the other side. You will be seeing bridges all over the place. And that is not all. Most of the famous bridges open at night to allow ships to dock in specific points in the city. There is actually a schedule that shows the exact time when these bridges will open and close. You would find locals and tourists alike keeping track of the time and schedule when you would find these bridges opening or closing. They would be running around at night to enjoy the spectacle of these opening bridges. This is something that you should not pass. You should try and stay up at night and just mingle with the locals, going around to view the bridges, to run around with the locals and ships pass. I wish I could have included more about St. Petersburg in this video, but that's all for now. I'll be sharing more videos on my experiences in Russia, so be sure to subscribe and share. Until next time, see you in the next one. Ciao.